thank you for being here. I'm Coach Ziggy. Today I will be teaching you the difference between an RDL and a deadlift. I will be teaching you how to correctly perform both of those exercises. And at the end, we're going to do a brief workout for the RDL and the deadlift specifically. Okay, so go ahead, grab a mat, grab some water, and let's get started. Okay, so first, let's talk about the difference between the two exercises, RDL, which stands for Romanian Deadlift, and conventional deadlift or just deadlift. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard both of those terms before. If you haven't, then I will be teaching you today. But what we want to think about, the primary difference between the two is the flexion and extension of your knees. So no matter what, this movement is going to be targeting the posterior chain, so your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes. You're always going to be using your core. You're also using some back, but that's the primary muscles as your lower body. And the biggest difference again is the bend in your knees. Okay, so let's go through what an RDL looks like. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my weight. And this exercise, the RDL, starts from a standing position. So we're going to stand. I'm going to hinge through my hips. And I'm going to keep my legs relatively straight the whole time. I'm not really bending here, extending up, squeezing my hamstrings and my glutes. Let's do that one more time. So core tight, I'm going to drive my hips behind me. Okay, this weight is tracking right in between my legs. My knees are staying relatively locked. I'm not bending them too much. And then upright squeeze. Okay, so that's an RDL, Romanian deadlift. So for this exercise, the deadlift, we're actually going to be starting with a more bent knee position. I'm not in a squat, I'm still in a hinge, but my knees are bent way more than with that RDL. So I'm gonna bend my knees, core tight, grab that weight, whatever you're using. Okay, I'm gonna drive my shoulder blades behind me, squeeze my core, and then drive up through my glutes, hamstrings. The same muscles are working, okay? And then come all the way down. I'm gonna hinge through the hips. I'm gonna be able to bend my knees a lot more here, bring the weight to the ground. Okay, core tight, break that bar. Okay, shoulder blades activate behind, driving up through the glutes, hamstrings, hinging back all the way down. Good flexion in my knees and extension up. Okay, coming all the way down. So as you can see, those two movements are really similar, but there's key differences that you'll feel when doing it on your own. All right, friends, so let's get a little bit more comfortable with doing this movement, okay? So I like to call it a hip hinge, all right? Because that's what you're doing. You're hinging through the hips. You're not bending in the knees, right? So that's a squat, right? You start with your knee flexion, you go all the way down and back up. This kind of movement, RDL deadlift, you're hinging as that starting movement, okay? That's a really big difference. So I like to say, take two of your fingers, bring them right under your hip, and just push back, right? Or you can imagine you're getting punched in the gut, but better is just take two fingers, push your hips back until you feel like you're gonna kind of fall back, and then stop, and then stand back up. And just imagine that backward and forward motion of your hips, okay? So backward and forward. It helps maybe to have a wall. You can go up, have the wall right behind you, and then you push your hips back until your butt touches the wall, and then you stand back up, okay? So as you get more and more comfortable with the hinge motion, your range of motion will improve, right? So when you get that hip hinge a little bit more comfortable, then you can move down a little bit farther while still hinging. But that's not the most important thing at the beginning. Really, it's just about making sure you feel that stretch in your hamstrings, glutes, and then the squeeze on the way up, okay? Stretch and squeeze. All right, so let's practice that one time, okay? So go ahead and come onto your mat. Feet are gonna be shoulder width apart. Stand upright. Let's just do it with your body weight right now. Okay, so we're gonna have our hands on your hips. Okay, core tight, deep breath in. As you exhale, push your fingers into your hips. Try to touch your butt to the wall behind you or the imaginary wall. Once you feel like you're gonna fall back, your toes start to rise, and stop. Make sure you're engaging your core, and then we're gonna slowly bring your hips forward, squeeze your hamstrings and your glutes. Remember, these are the muscles that we're working, So that's where you should feel it dominantly, and that's where you should be engaging the most, okay? So let's do that 5 more times. Ready? Exhale. Hinge back. Keep your fingers pushing. And squeeze on the way up. 2. Really take your time here at the bottom. Make sure you found that end position. Stand up. And 3. And 4. Last one. Drive the hips behind you. Hinge, hinge, hinge. Keep pushing all the way. Big stretch. And then squeeze on the way up. Drive your feet into the ground. And good. Okay, so if you're not feeling it here and you're feeling it more in your lower back or your quads, other muscles that might be taking over, then you need to work on bringing that mind to muscle connection and making sure that your hamstrings are the muscles that are working, okay? All right, so now what we're gonna do is a short workout using some weights for the hamstrings and the glutes, revolving around deadlifts and RDLs. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, let's get into this workout. All you need is 1 dumbbell, so if you need to grab that now, go ahead and do that. So our first exercise is going to be that RDL. So take your weight, have it in between your hands like this, or you can hold it like this. That might feel a little bit better. And we're just gonna practice that hinge, okay? So this weight should be touching your legs the whole time. Don't let it pull you forward, okay? So let's do 10 reps here. Ready? Deep breath in. Hinge through the hips. And drive up. 1. And again. Good. 2. Make sure you're stretching and squeeze on the way up. 3. 4. Core is engaged. Pull your belly button towards the back of your ribs. Good. 5. 6. 7. Good. 2 more. Almost there. 8. 9. Good. And 10. All right. So next what we're going to do is stagger our stance. So bring your weight into one hand. Okay? This left foot is going to come right in line with your heel. Toes are planted, heel up. Keep this weight right next to you. It can be on the side or in front, but you don't want it pulling away from your body. And we're doing the same exact thing. Now we're isolating using our right leg more. We're going to do 5 reps, okay? So core tight. Inhale. Exhale. All the weight is in my right foot now. And stand and squeeze. Good. 1. Should feel the intensity increasing slightly here with this staggered stance. 2. Good. 3. Now that we're getting a little warmed up, maybe we go a little bit more hinge back, more range of motion. Good. 1 more. Perfect. And now we'll switch sides. So other hand, plant those toes right along with your heel, other heel up, hinge back, and stand through your left leg. Good. 1. Core is engaged. 2. Hinge. Good. 3. 4. And 5. Perfect. Okay, go ahead and put your weight down. Last exercise of this circuit is going to be single leg, okay? So if this is a little bit too much for you, then you can do another round of your staggered, or you can go back to the conventional RDL with 2 hands. But this time we're gonna try taking that opposite leg all the way off the ground, and then just small range of motion here. Hinge through the hips, and then stand up. You can bring your knee all the way up at the top. 5 reps, ready? Hinge back, you can use your fingers, push into your hips. 2. 3. You've had 2 rounds to practice, so you should be feeling a little bit more confident now with the motion of this RDL. 4. 1 more. Good, and 5. Perfect. Okay, so switch legs now. Left side is gonna go. Okay, take your modification if you need. If you wanna try that single leg, okay, bring this side up. Take your fingers, bring them to your hips. Core tight, push back. Hinge, hinge, hinge. Keep your fingers pushing your hip back the whole time. Core tight, good. 1. You're feeling a little wobbly. That's totally normal. This back leg is just really hanging out. It doesn't need to go up high. It's not the one working. 2. Hinge, hinge, hinge. Good. 3. Good. 4. Saved it. That doesn't count. Core tight. Hinge, hinge, hinge. Oh yeah, and up, squeeze. 5. Okay, great job. We're gonna do it all one more time. Okay, so grab your weight. And we're starting with our regular RDL with both legs. Okay, here we go. 10 reps, deep breath in. Exhale, hinge. And up. Now that we're a little bit more warmed up, maybe we go a little bit farther into the hinge this time. The weight can come a little bit lower, but remember, we're not over bending the knees. Okay. Drive up, glutes, hamstrings, squeeze. Good. 3. 4. Make sure you're breathing with it. I like to exhale on the hard part. So right now, 5. My gaze is staying forward, not overextended or under, just right in front of me. 6. Good, almost there. 7. Core is engaged always. 8, pull your belly button to the back of the ribs. Good, 9, 1 more. And 10. Okay, great. Next, we're gonna do that staggered stance. So take the weight into one hand. We'll start with our right leg. So our back toes are gonna come in line with the right heel. Left heel is elevated, core tight. You can take your fingers, push your hip back. Good, and 5 reps here. 1. 2, again, this left leg is just here to keep you upright. This right leg is doing all the work. 3. Slow and steady, okay? Engage and squeeze. 4. Don't rush through it. 5. Perfect. Okay, great. Switch sides. Okay, toes in line with the heel. Weight is always attached to you. Pretend there's magnets and you just can't pull it away. Okay, so deep breath in. Hinge back. Hamstrings and glutes raise you up. 1. Core is engaged. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Perfect. Okay, go ahead and put the weight down. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, you can hold the weight for the single leg. I'm going to stick with body weight because it's pretty challenging. So go ahead and bring that opposite leg off the floor. If you want to keep it planted, you can, no problem. Okay, bring that leg off the floor if you like. Take your 2 fingers, bring them to your hip, core tight. Push back, hinge through the hips, squeeze your glutes and your hamstrings. 1, core tight again. It's It's really easy to forget. So I'm gonna always be reminding you. 2, engaging this whole chain in your leg. Ooh, core tight. 3, good. 4, I wanna keep this opposite leg from opening up, so keep your hips facing down. Last one, and 5, perfect. Okay, we're almost done. Last 5 reps on this other side. Set it up, take a second. Bring your fingers onto your hip. Bring that leg up, core tight for balance. Hinge back. Stand up and squeeze. 1. Good. 2. Maybe one side feels a little bit more wobbly, that's okay. Just move a little bit slower. 3. Keep that core engaged for balance. Good. 4. One more hinge, push it back. Good, bring it up. And 5. All right guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I taught you the main difference between a RDL or Romanian deadlift and a conventional deadlift. We went over some cues on how to perform those exercises correctly using some fingers push, hinge through the hips, and a lot of other things, right? And then we did a brief workout with a both leg RDL, right? Then we did a staggered, and then we did a single. So we started with the easiest and we brought it up to the most challenging. It's a great workout for you to do on your own to practice the movement. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this, guys, make sure to give me a like, a subscribe. If you have any questions, please message me. I will be happy to answer all of them. I know this can be a little bit tricky, so I'm here to help. Thank you guys, bye.